Hi, it's Aaron Davison. Welcome to my program, How to License More of Your Songs and Make More Money. And during this program, I'm going to talk about the two different areas that if you understand and focus on, will allow you to both license more of your songs and ultimately make more money licensing your songs. And the two different areas that I'm referring to can broadly be defined as number one, your music. So this category includes everything from the production quality of your songs, what your songs are about subject matter wise, the arrangement of your songs, whether or not your songs fade out or end abruptly. All of the different elements that go into the creation of your music are included in this category. And the other category can broadly be defined as marketing. So this includes who you're submitting music to, how you're submitting your music, how often you're submitting your music, how well you're researching the needs of people you're submitting music to, and all of the things that you're doing hopefully on a regular basis to get your music heard by the right people. But let's start first with your music. And the first category I'd like to discuss within your music is the production quality of your music. And this is something I've referred to a lot in previous newsletters and in previous blog posts. And one of the reasons I refer to production quality so often is simply because it's a really important aspect of getting your music licensed. And I can remember 6 or 7 years ago seeing ads on sites like Taxi saying that, you know, if you had a really good 4-track recording or a really good 8-track recording, that was good enough. That was sufficient to be used in TV shows and films. And that may have been the case at that time, but what I've seen happen since then is that the affordability of really good recording gear has gone way down. And now, you know, your average independent musician has access to really good gear, and a lot of indie musicians are making really great professional sounding recordings. And so obviously in terms of songs that end up being licensed, you know, the really good material tends to rise to the top, both in terms of the song itself and the production quality of the song. So you need to really be aware of music production, and you want to make sure that you're producing stuff that is up to industry standards. So how do you do this? Well, one of the simplest things you can do, one of the things I suggest, is simply to start submitting your music to people working in the industry. You know, start submitting your music to music libraries and publishers and supervisors and see what kind of a reaction you get. If you're getting a good reaction and you're being accepted into a lot of different places, chances are, you know, that's a good indication that your music is good enough production-wise and it's ready to be licensed. Another thing you can do is to simply listen to other music that's already been licensed and compare the production quality of your music against other songs that are being licensed. You know, research different TV shows and films, find out what music is actually being used, and as objectively as possible, compare your recordings to those recordings. That's a great exercise I suggest. Another important category within the category of your music is the subject matter of the songs that you're writing. So this obviously just applies to songs with vocals, but if you think about how music is used in the context of television shows and films, music is almost always used to support the plot line and storyline of, you know, whatever TV show or film your song is being licensed in. So unless you're writing specifically for a specific project that you know about in advance, it's obviously hard to predict exactly, you know, how and where your song is going to end up being used. But one of the things you can do is just to write about things subject matter wise that will work in a broad array of situations. So if you think about stories in TV shows and films, they almost always involve relationships, different types of relationships. So songs about falling in love, falling out of love, friendship, all of these types of songs, subject matter wise, tend to work in a broad range of different places. Now, in terms of the marketing of your music, the first thing that you want to be aware of is who you're submitting your music to and the relevancy of the music you're submitting. So basically what I suggest is, as opposed to just blindly submitting your music to a bunch of different publishers and supervisors, to do a little work, to do a little due diligence, and find out, accurately the needs of the people you're submitting your music to. So you're not submitting music that they have no need for, and you're not wasting postage, and you're not wasting other people's time. So how do you do this? Well, a simple way to do this is to simply contact people you want to submit music to. So go to different publishers' websites, go to music supervisors' websites, email them, call them, introduce yourself politely, and find out what it is they're in need of, if they're in need of anything. Sometimes music libraries aren't looking for music at all. There's no sense in submitting your music if they're not even looking for music, period. So do some due diligence, and you'll find that if you do this, you're going to be received a lot better, and you're going to greatly increase the chances of your music actually being placed and ultimately licensed. One of the other areas that I suggest you focus on is the frequency of how often you're submitting your music. So one of the things that I suggest songwriters do in my program, the A to Z of music licensing, is to do what I call the 90-day challenge. And this simply involves picking one company a day for 90 consecutive days and submitting your music to 90 different places. And this accomplishes a couple different things. Number one, to a certain extent, getting your music licensed is somewhat of a numbers game in terms of having your music line up with the right situation at the right time. So the more frequently you're submitting your music, assuming you're submitting your music to the right places, the greater your chances are of having your songs line up with the right project at the right time. The other thing that's going to happen is that if you do this, you're going to build up this incredible momentum. You're going to learn a lot about how well your songs fit into the music licensing marketplace. And assuming your songs are ready to go and are up to par, you're going to build momentum, start getting your music placed with different libraries, and ultimately you're going to start licensing your music, which will create this positive feedback loop, which will encourage you and motivate you to repeat this pattern, and it's going to result in a lot more success than if you simply just every once in a while submit your music somewhere. Now, next week I'm actually going to be announcing the details of a new program that I'm calling the 90-Day Challenge Music Licensing Masterclass. So keep your eyes peeled to this video blog and my newsletter for details about that. This is going to be my most comprehensive program yet. I'm really excited about that, so I'm going to be announcing all the details really soon. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you got a lot out of this, and I'll talk to you soon.